Hi, I'm Susanna from That Old Oven, or from the blog That Old Oven, and today I wanted to share a really simple, easy pie recipe with you all. For those of you who may have followed my blog for a little while, I absolutely love pies. They're my favorite thing to make. And today I have a really easy one that I actually just discovered last week that I want to make for y'all. So I have a prepared pie crust already in here. This is a homemade pie crust, not store-bought. You can do store-bought if you want to be like that. Just kidding. But homemade is always better and turns out beautifully. People say pie crust is hard. It doesn't have to be hard. There are some tips you can follow that make it really easy and make it turn out just as beautiful as any store-bought crust you can make. So I've already got that set aside in the pie plate, ready and waiting. And I have melted here together some chocolate and butter. So it's 4 ounces. I don't know if you can really see that, but it's in there. 4 ounces of semi-sweet baking chocolate and a half a cup of butter. Now, a half a cup of butter is the same as 1 stick of butter. So really easy to remember. Whenever a recipe says half a cup of butter, that's 1 stick. And I am using unsalted butter. To this, I am just going to add 1 cup of sugar. And you want to add it while the chocolate and butter mixture is still hot. That way the sugar will kind of melt into there and won't be too grainy. So I'm just going to add that right in. And that is 1 whole cup of sugar. It sounds like a lot. And it kind of is. This is a really sweet pie, but if you love chocolate, if you love brownies, if you love anything that's fudgy and delicious, you are going to love this pie. Okay, so I've just mixed that together in there really well. All right, so once I've combined that, I'm going to push it back, set it aside, and I'm going to take 2 eggs. I've got 2 eggs here, and you're just going to crack them into a larger bowl. And, oh dear, I make a really big mess when I crack eggs. I don't know how to do it smoothly. And I definitely don't know how to do it with 1 hand. So let me just go wash my hands. So I have the 2 eggs in this glass bowl here. You just want to give them a light whisk with a fork or a whisk. You just want to beat them lightly, not a light whisk. You want to beat them lightly. So when you beat eggs lightly, and again, it's going to be a little hard to see. I don't know if you can see that in there, but when you beat an egg lightly, you're just breaking up the yolks just a little bit, but you don't want to completely mix the yolks and the whites so it's like completely yellow. You want there to be that kind of mottled, there's a little bit of yellow, a little bit of clear. You know, the yolks and the whites aren't completely mixed, so that's what it means when it says to beat an egg lightly. You just want to lightly break up the yolks, okay? So now we're just going to let this sit for about 3 minutes. Actually, the reason we're waiting for 3 minutes now is because our chocolate butter mixture is still really hot. And what we're going to be doing is adding that into the eggs. Well, if we add that into the eggs while it's really hot, the eggs are going to start to cook. Eggs cook very easily, very quickly. So if we add the chocolate and butter mixture into the eggs while it's still really hot, you're going to end up with little pieces of scrambled egg in your pie. And a scrambled egg chocolate pie is just really disgusting and does not have that same sort of appetizing feature about it that a chocolate pie would. So while we're waiting, I'll go ahead and tell y'all where I found this pie recipe and the name of it. So it's called Chocolate Crack Pie. And it's absolutely delicious. It's very similar to a brownie pie, if you've ever seen or had one of those. It's kind of like a cross between a brownie pie and a chocolate chess pie. And both of those are my favorites. They have chocolate in them. What else do you need? So it's a cross between like a chocolate chess pie and a brownie pie, from my opinion, the way it's cooked. And oh, I lost my train of thought. Okay, and it's from, I actually found this recipe on Pinterest. It's from The Playground is My Kitchen, I think is the name of it. And it is really just so easy. I was looking for it last week on March 14th for Pie Day. I wanted to make a pie, but I had a little run-in between me, a serrated knife, and a grapefruit, and I lost. I was kind of on the bad end of that deal. I basically got a really bad cut on one of my fingers and was not able to do a whole lot of cooking or make a pie crust or do any like extravagant sort of pie. So, but being the pie baker that I am, I really, really wanted a pie that I could bake for Pie Day. So I was like, I can't let this day go by and not bake anything. So I went ahead and found this recipe. It was so easy. I was like, I can put that together. I did have to buy a store-bought crust. I felt so ashamed walking through the store with that. But today, I made my crust, and none of my fingers are injured, so it's really easy to do. And I love this recipe. This is actually the third time I've made it since last week. That's how good it is. Like, I just keep making it and giving it to people and making it for my husband because it's like his new favorite pie now. So, yeah, definitely a good recipe. The only ingredients you need the pie crust, of course, and then you need 4 ounces of baking chocolate, 1 cup of sugar, 1/2 cup of butter, and 2 eggs. That's it. It is so easy. This is a great pie recipe that you can put together if you're having company over. Maybe unexpectedly somebody calls and says, hey, I'm in town, can I stop by and see you? And you want to have a treat for them. You can throw this together so quickly. Or even for your family on a weeknight. You know, a lot of times on the weeknight, we don't make desserts, or we don't make, you know, really good desserts or anything because we're already pushed for time as it is on a weeknight. We've got to get ready for work or school the next day. We've got dinner to cook, dishes to wash, all of that stuff. And we don't have time for a really extravagant dessert. This pie is perfect for a weeknight when you want to make some dessert for your family, but you don't want to, you know, spend 5 hours in the kitchen. This is perfect for that. So I think I haven't kept track of time. I hope I've talked long enough to have allowed this to cool a bit more. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add the chocolate, butter, and sugar mixture into the eggs. And oh, it's like sweet heaven. Oh my goodness, I love anything that has chocolate in it. Anything. Okay. Of course, I always try to get every last bit off. I'm kind of paranoid like that. Alright, so I'm going to set that aside. Now you're just going to whisk this mixture together. And you want to make sure it's well combined. You don't want to see any yellow in there. You want the eggs to be completely incorporated into the chocolate. So you just keep going. Alright, perfect. Oh, nice and thick and delicious. Okay, there we go. Alright, and then we're going to trade utensils again. Put trade off there. So now you're going to take your crust, which you have already put into a pan beforehand. Don't wait until now to put it in the pan. Make sure you've got the crust ready to go before you start any of the filling. Because this is a very quick pie to make, so you want to have it ready to go in the oven. So then we just pour our mixture into this. Yummy, yummy. Oh my goodness, and this makes your house smell so good, like better than any candle ever could. Oh, it's amazing. When I made this, one of the times I made this last week, like I said, I made it twice last week, and one of the times when I did, I had gone out of the house. I don't know if I was outside doing yard work or if I had run some errands, I don't remember, but I was outside of the house, and I came back in, and it had already cooked. The pie had already baked. And I came back in, and oh my gosh, the house smelled so wonderful. Like, even a few hours after it had cooked, it smelled amazing. Okay, so I am just kind of evening it out here. I will lick that off later, off camera. And so now I have the pie all ready to go into the oven. I'm going to grab a pan. I just have a little baking sheet here. I'm going to put my pie plate on. You really don't necessarily need a baking sheet for this one. This is not a pie that like bubbles and overflows, but I just like to do it anyway. I don't know, I guess it's habit. And then I have this thing. This is like a pie shield. I don't know if that's the exact term for it, but it's like a pie shield, and you just put it on the crust around it to make sure the edges of the crust don't burn while the pie cooks. And I usually like to take it off about 10 minutes before the pie is finished cooking, 10 to 15 minutes. So it just goes on there. If you don't have one of these, you can use foil, or if you want one, they're like $10. And I think you can buy them from Bed Bath & Beyond or Amazon, or one of those places will have it. So just look up like a pie shield. If you bake a lot of pies and you don't like your crust to burn on the edges, this is a really good investment. Okay, so I've got everything ready. It's going to go into the oven. One more thing I did want to add about the pie is that this is not a very deep pie. Again, it's a little hard to see, but you'll see in pictures that will also be in this post. It's not a deep dish pie at all, so do not put this in a deep dish pie plate. I have used like the smallest pie plate I have as far as how deep it is, because it's not a deep dish pie. It does raise up to about double in size when it cooks, but it's still not that deep. So definitely do not use a deep dish pie pan. Just use a regular pie pan. And with that said, it's ready to go in the oven, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in there. It'll go in the oven. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I hope you will try it out. It's great topped with ice cream or whipped cream, either one. Heck, you could do both, okay? And the more the better. But definitely, I hope y'all like this recipe and will try it out for yourself. If you are new to baking pies, this is a great one to try as your first one because it's so easy to make. So I'm going to go pop this in the oven and I will see y'all later.